11.2.2, operations with complex numbers geometrically. So, this is a little bit of a stretch. There's not going to be a whole lot of geometry. It just starts pretty simple. Z is this, W is this, add them together, which means you can. So, 4, negative 2, 2. 2i minus I. Now we got to subtract W from Z. Make sure to include parentheses. And if I was to give this section a name, it would be just a review of 11.2.1. So, if U is this, what is 3 times U? So, we're just simply going to multiply it by 3. So this is a way of this curriculum or math telling you it's okay to multiply a vector or a complex number by any number. So distribute, so I get negative 12 plus 15i. Now here comes the geometry, kind of. How are U and 3U related graphically? Well, if we take a look, and don't forget what these are. These are endpoints of your spinner. So U would be negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, plus 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it would be right there, and there's my spinner. This one, negative 12, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then 15. Well, there's 5, 10, 15. So that would just be this vector tripled. Now, we haven't talked about vectors yet. We will, but this is a unit of force. So this, well, it's going to talk about it right here. So as you can see, it says, what are the moduli? That's plural from modulus, moduluses. That means the length. And the arguments, that's how far we spun our spinner. So, of U and 3U, you can see the argument is going to be the same, because it's just this original spinner tripled. So, what are the moduli? Well, the first one, remember we said negative 4 and 5? So we're going to go a squared plus b squared equals c squared. C is my hypotenuse. So that's 25 and 16, which is 41. And the first little guy is the square root of 41. Now we did the same thing for this one. We have to go left 12, up 15, and then we'd go a squared plus b squared equals c squared. That's 144, 225. Add them together, we get 360. What would that be? 369. Pause that a second. So the math gets a little tricky, but if I take the square root of both sides, and your hunch is because you tripled the original vector or spinner, that it should be 3 times this. Let's investigate. So let's see if 41 goes into 369 evenly, and I did. 369 divided by 41 is 9. So I know it's a tricky one to break down, but if you look at it, we get 3 square root of 41. So after you've done a few, you can just go, oh, I don't need to really do all this math. I can just multiply that one by 3. So that's how you'd quickly find the moduli of 3u. Now what's the argument? Well, I'm going to put this little symbol in here and think backwards. If I find that, then I can subtract it from 180 and it will give me the argument, how far you had to spin your spinner. So I'm going to go tangent of my alpha, opposite. I could have used this small one too, over adjacent. And here we go. Second tangent of 15 over negative 12. Negative 51.3. So again, back to your calculator. Your calculator knows that tangent can only be negative in not this, not this. So your calculator threw you into this quadrant. So if you drew a little picture of it and thought, wait a minute, your calculator doesn't know that our math problem's in the second quadrant, you would have to extend this and just use a little geometry, because if this is 51.3, vertical angles are congruent, that has to be 51.3. And so that would be my picture with this negative 12 and 15. So now I have to subtract this from 180 to find my actual argument. So that'd be 180 minus 51.3. That'd be 128.7 degrees. There's my argument. And not to bore you, but what if you said, hey, wait a minute, I remember a problem we did like that. Maybe I don't want to use tangent. Maybe I'm going to use cosine. So let's try cosine. Cosine of this, well, let's go back to this angle right here, would be, I'm going to use the big triangle, adjacent over the well, that would get crazy. So cosine of theta would be adjacent over this crazy thing. So I might want to rethink this and use the smaller triangle, but let's just go for it. So this would, 12 over 3 is 4, so it's negative 4 over the square root of 41, just a little easier to type in your calculator. So now I'm going to go second cosine. Second cosine negative 4 divided by the square root of 41. Enter. You see how it just straight up gives you the answer without having to do all this geometry. So that would take us right to the answer. So maybe you want to use cosine instead of tangent. It's up to you. I'm not sure if this was on the screen when I was talking about it. So here it is again. I'm talking about this big triangle over here. Cosine of alpha is adjacent over my hypotenuse, which is my moduli, which we found to be this. That's where I got this from. Reduce this, put that in my calculator, hit second cosine, and spits that out again. All right, example 3, almost done. U is this, V is this. Says multiply them together. All this is a FOIL problem. These are not conjugate, so we have to FOIL. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. Outside, 9i. Inside, 8i. Last, negative 6i squared, which if we look at this, that's just plus 6. Negative 12 and 6 is negative 6. These two are 17i. So, it says, what are the moduli of u, v, and uv? So really it's just more practice. So let's do this one. U is 3 minus 2i. 1, 2, 3. So that's 3, negative 2. This is what they're asking for. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. 9 plus 4 So 13, there's my modulus, right there. Let's try V. V is this. So that means go left 4, up 3. There's the end of the spinner. So this is -4, up 3. We got a 3, 4, 5. So that one was easy. Now what's this asking? Well, this is asking what's the modulus of that, because we did that earlier. So now we draw a picture of this. So I'm just going to go -6 and then 17, and there's our spinner right there. Stops right here. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. 289 plus 36. I don't want to screw that up. 289 plus 36. 325. So 325 equals c squared. Take the square root, and there it is. That's the length of the spinner, hypotenuse, radius, modulus. So those are all the same thing. So there's your homework. You guys are all set and ready to go. If you like this video, like and subscribe so I can go viral. That's what this is all about. All right. Take care. Good luck. See me if you have questions.